going through the advanced process for Mahogany, I think it's fair to say it was initially a little bit daunting, possibly even scary. As we sort of realised going in, diversity is a huge issue, gender equality is a huge issue. So for us to sort of be opening the door even a little felt like quite a monumental undertaking. But that said, we had a very specific question that we had in mind, looking at female librettists and how we could explore this. We knew we'd never commissioned a female librettist, so that was why we asked our question about female librettists. But following the research that Lucy and the advanced team did, it suddenly became very clear that this was there was a much broader thing to be discussed.
Yeah, so that, I think at that point in the process, after the research findings were shared, that was a moment where we all kind of thought, wow, this is a really huge thing, and what do we do with all this information? So that was quite a difficult moment, I think, for us as an organisation at that point. I was thinking, I don't know how we're ever going to really come up with an action plan that can do anything. But then, by the time we got to the point where we were doing the action plan, we kind of got there quite naturally. So I think because the process was quite, it was like a step-by-step process, it enabled us to have that kind of freak-out moment. And then we had the points where we could reflect on it, let the dust settle, and that kind of led us to being able to formulate an action plan. So the process was really good in that sense, in it being quite gradual. I mean, we were saying that you could maybe condense the process down and do it over a shorter period of time, but I just think people need that time to get their heads around it.
When we started and we chose this question, I think there was some assumption, perhaps, on some levels, that this would be quite an easy thing to solve, that the reason why there aren't more female, or why we haven't encountered more female librettists, is it's a training and a knowledge issue on our part, and it's about the routes that librettists have into the sector, into finding work, and that perhaps, as because gender equality is quite a long-standing issue within the arts, that perhaps it's there, but it's not quite necessarily relevant to us. And I think very quickly from the research we could see that actually that wasn't the case at all. What was coming back to us was that it's much broader about the role that women have in opera and the way that women are perceived in opera, both creatively from a sort of arts management professional level, gatekeeping and access points, and also just how they're being accommodated within the structures existing within the sector already. So we definitely had a little freak out at that point as to how do we, this quite small company in the overall ecology, make a difference on that scale. But what was great about the process was that through reflecting on that and really going into a really kind of granular level of detail on each of these sort of issues and what we were finding, we were able to then come back out with some very practical steps that we can make a difference on. That, in context with then learning about what the issues that the Opera House was finding, and the other people in the room when we were coming together on the away days, it sort of made us feel like, well, actually, even though this is a big issue, there are things that we can be doing in conjunction at the same time that the large organisations, other sized, or the different kinds of organisations are doing, and by all approaching this together, we can make a difference more effectively.
Yeah.